Fire Commission meeting. If we can convene our meeting and stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, tonight we have Commissioner Bringard, Bletcher, and myself. Mr. Kelsey is still recuperating, and Mr. Corneffel has been called to a meeting. That's different than this meeting, so he is not here tonight. But we do have a quorum. Are there any additions or deletions to the agenda? If not, a motion to approve the agenda as presented.
So moved.
Moved by Bletcher, supported by Bringard. Questions, comments, and all in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Motion carried. All right, we need to approve our meeting minutes from June of 2024.
So moved.
Moved by Bletcher, supported by Bringard. Questions or comments? If not, all in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Motion carried. Okay, moving on to expenses. Chief, report for June of 2024.
As we have stated numerous times, the fire department operates on dedicated operating millage funds. We do not receive any funds from any outside sources, no general fund money to operate. All our allocations are within the budgeted amounts. I see nothing unusual in our expenditures, and everything is within proper order with expenses.
Right, we need a motion to approve the expense report for June of 2024.
So moved.
Moved by Bletcher, supported by Bringard. All in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. Motion carried. All right, we have 5 discussion items. Chief.
Chief's report. First thing I'd like to mention is that the fire department has a renewal millage up for operations. The official vote is August 6th. However, many of our citizens are voting by absentee ballot. As I stated before, the fire department graciously operates on the willingness of our citizens to vote in favor of a millage for operations. The operations millage generates approximately $1.1 million for the fire department operations on an annual basis. The fire department provides 24/7, 365-day response to 911 medical calls. In regards to the number of those calls, the fire department is the only department in which the number of calls are increasing at a large pace. Since 2000, our calls have increased. Our responses, calls are one thing, responses are where our ambulances or our fire trucks pull out of the driveway, have increased 14%. And when you're talking about 850 calls, 900 calls, 14% is darn near 130 calls. That's a lot of calls to increase over a period of 3.5 or 3 years. Our fire department has been operating on the same mill since, well, over the last 4 years. They're doing more. Our citizen firefighters, EMTs, are doing it graciously. They are doing it with love for their community and the people in their community. So I'm urging the citizens to approve the operations millage. Again, some of them are already voting absentee, but they will be voting in the voting booth on August 6th. Our medical services provide patient transport to area hospitals. Unlike some surrounding communities, they're using private outside sources to transport their patients. Groseal does nothing of that. The people that are transporting their patients are people that live down their street. Their kids go to school with them. And I think that resonates into the care, the, let's say, response and the service that our patients receive. Our equipment is state of the art. Kurt, you know this, Carl, you know this. Our Life Pack was the first in the state provided. Our Life Pack can perform 12 lead EKGs. It can defibrillate. It can transmit that information to hospitals. When we do a 12 lead in the back of our ambulance, we hit send, and it sends it to the waiting ER via the cloud. It will also send the patient vitals. So we have state-of-the-art medical equipment on our ambulances. And we provide that service to our community members. In addition, our firefighters are providing specialty skills to surrounding communities. We have firefighters on the Grosio Fire Department that provide mutual aid to surrounding communities by way of hazmat specialty skills that they have been trained on. Downriver Task Force, 2 of our firefighters are members of the Downriver Task Force and provide rescue and recovery services to communities around Grosio. We also have members on our fire department who've been trained to identify arson and fire sources of ignition and fire patterns. And our firefighters provide that skill to surrounding fire departments. We have firefighters that have been trained and educated in all other skills like water rescue, ice rescue, fast water rescue. We have firefighters that worked at Nassau in their fire service. We have firefighters, a firefighter that has all sorts of technical skills from California. Our firefighters have responded to land fires. They have responded to fires at apartment buildings off island. They have evacuated seniors from senior housings at fires off the island. Now, I'm mentioning all this stuff off the island, but I'm telling you, these firefighters can transfer the same skills to Grosio. We have senior centers now on Grosio. We have a senior center on Macomb Street that houses maybe 100 residents. We are prepared to answer the call.
Chief, you might emphasize that this is a renewal, no increase in millage.
Absolutely. This is no increase in taxes. This is an allocation of the same revenue via the tax base that residents have always paid. It is no more, it is no less. So there is no tax increase, and thank you for mentioning that. I want to make it clear that this is basically an allowance for the department to operate. And it's strict, it's strictly controlled. Any money generated via these millages are dedicated just to the fire department. They cannot be used for any other project in the township. And it can't be used for any other department than the fire department. So, other initiatives that the fire department has taken on, we have now a partnership with the Grosio School District where young seniors come and have an internship program at the fire department. It lasts approximately 5 months. They come every day. They learn firefighting, EMT skills, and we hope that this was the first year we've done it. We hope that they come back and join our fire department. And these young kids have expressed desire to come and join our fire department. So we also have community initiatives. We provide smoke detectors. We provide carbon monoxide detectors. We have a website in which we dispense very important fire safety information to the public. I've already talked about Downriver Mutual Aid. And, the mutual aid's important. what we give to other communities in terms of mutual aid, they are so gracious. They provide it when we call upon them to assist us. So I want to make it clear, other communities help all the other communities. They do a great job responding to Grosse Ile if we need them, as in turn we provide the favor. We respond with the favor. So in regards to the chief's report, I want to emphasize the millage for the renewal of the operations August 6th.
John, I'd like to add a quick thought to follow up on what Jerry was saying. For the month of June, with 30 days, we had 80 combined calls, 13 for fire and 67 for medical assistance. And when you look at the fact that this department was created in 1943, firefighting was the purpose for the department. Today has morphed into providing extremely good medical services that are not available anywhere else. To have a private company come in here, and when I look at medical services, I'm reading down through the 67 different responses there, and we're looking at altered mental state, cardiac arrests, diabetic, as well as strokes. And that's just scratching the surface. 67 of those for the month of June, 30 days. Throw in 13 fire calls. That's 80 calls in a 30-day period. 2.7 on average a day. Almost one for every 8-hour shift. That is incredible. And by 8-hour shift, I mean traditional 8 hours, because our volunteers are 24/7, 365. And you have to make split-second decisions. When you do an assessment, you're looking at somebody, a stroke, a heart attack, any of those other mental altered states. That's what we do, and nobody else has the ability to do them. So I'm hoping when the public looks at their ballot and when they have to make a decision, they understand it's not just putting out fires, it's not just responding to somebody having a electrical fire or somebody having a gas fire. It's because they have need for medical services, and that's what we do, and we do very well.
You know, Carl, everything you say sparks off experiences I've had at the fire department. We respond, the fire department responds to all these medical calls, all these, let's say, utility emergencies, structure fires, gas leaks, water rescues, water recoveries, road hazards, storm-related emergencies. I'm going to give you a fact. The fire department responded to 75 utility emergencies and road hazard emergencies in 36 hours. 75. I got to tell you, I was probably on 45 or 50 of them, and the rest of the fire department responded to 100% of them. 75 calls going around the clock. They didn't miss a beat. I'm going to give you a factoid. So this fire department responded to 75 calls. This fire department responded to 75 calls in 36 hours. Graciously, thank you. Graciously, that doesn't happen to every fire department. We have firefighters on our department who are career firefighters off island in other communities. I asked, does your fire department respond to utility emergencies or down trees? The answer was no. That's not disparaging them. That's just showing the expansiveness of the nature of the calls we respond to. He said, I think we responded to 3 down trees. We responded to 75. And we had chainsaws. Carl, I was on a call with Bob and a bunch of other firefighters. Just 2 nights ago. We started at 5 a.m. I didn't leave the department till 7:30 a.m. We went out in the morning on 2 medical calls before noon. And then we went through the afternoon. And then they went through calls at night. So, you know, the Grosio Fire Department is made up of citizens who cannot just turn their backs on something they love to do. Sure, they get some small compensation, but it's helping your residents, your residential partners, and taking care of business. Now, I'm going to say another thing. The 1.1 million that's generated through the year, that covers the utility bills, that covers the water, the heat, that covers the retiree health care, that covers the fire department's health care, it covers the work, that pays for the workers' comp, that pays for everything at the fire department. And I've calculated out of the 1.1 million, about half of that is fixed costs that you are not going to get rid of no matter how many firefighters you have at that department. So when it comes to the actual variable costs, what it costs to, let's say, what it costs to turn the lights on is half of that 1.1 million. So that 1.1 million doesn't even cover the coffee in the kitchen. It doesn't even cover their potato chips. They pay for that out of their own pocket. Now, we're not complaining. It's just what has evolved.
Chief, let me ask you, we have a fact sheet in front of us. It would be good to make sure that residents have the ability to see this. It would be good for the clerk's office to have it somewhere that when people walk in, and if they need to have some questions answered as it relates to the millage, it'd be good if we could put it on your website as well as the township's website, because when you take a look at the quick facts, you know, it's a 5-year renewal. There's no tax increase. Calls, like you've said, have increased by 14%. And this funds the fire departments. It's a dedicated millage. There's no general fund allocation. But this is a really good piece that we should get to the residents. Obviously, the election, some are voting now, but you know the election's not until early August. If we can use this and get the word out, obviously our job's not really to push people one way or the other how they should vote, but it's important to give them the facts, right? Because obviously these facts and the facts that you have here are something that's powerful enough that I think if people read it, they'll understand the full scope of the fire department. So however we can get this and broadcast it, we should do so.
You are right. It went on our Facebook page yesterday.
Good.
And I've seen some people respond, and they've said, we vote yes. So we put it together a couple days ago. We posted it yesterday, and we'll share it on the other social media sites. But in terms of the chief's report, it's very important to get the message out there, the facts. You know, I've read, well, our EMTs don't provide pharmaceutical therapy. That's malarkey. We provide drugs on our ambulances. Okay, I'm not on Facebook. I don't check it out, but sometimes the firefighters will tell me what they read, and I just walk away from it, because a fire chief has to walk away from some of the social media inaccuracies. It's tough enough to run a department 24/7 and be the front person who shows up on a lot of calls and keep the stress level down and the distractions down. Well, one thing I can tell you, our EMTs, who are also firefighters, do a great job. And anybody who wants to come and sit down in my office and try to talk facts with me, I'll keep the door open. Matter of fact, I have a policy, and Bob knows this. I never shut my door. When I have something to say, I say it professionally and quietly, because there's nothing to hide. As long as you go through life telling the truth, and sometimes the truth is what somebody doesn't want to hear, why shut your door? So I never shut my door. Our EMTs provide pharmaceutical therapy. They don't have to come to the station to get into the ambulance and respond. They respond right from their homes, depending on the locality of the call. They all have advanced medical equipment in their cars. Therefore, they can get to the calls quicker than housing firefighters in the middle of the night at the station. For example, if there's a call on Bellevue, Bob is there within a couple minutes and he has his advanced life equipment in his car. He carries an AED, he carries an oxygen tank, so he has the abilities. So do I, so do other firefighters. They respond right from their house with advanced medical equipment. So I think I've been advised that someone said, well, they got to go to the station from their home, and that's a delay versus firefighters who can deploy right from the station. Now, they deploy right from their homes at 2 o'clock in the morning, right to the scene with equipment they carry in their car. So,
Chief, if anybody has any questions, your open door policy, they can reach out to you or anybody, obviously at the fire department, but we'll focus on you, right? So if anybody has any questions, they just put a call into you and you'll talk to them freely.
That's right. So, in sum, the chief's report is primarily dedicated to the August 6th renewal, and I'm urging people to learn the facts and vote yes in favor of the millage.
All right.
Chief, if I could say something here. First off, sorry for being late. These firefighters, they spend 500 hours a year, uncompensated. They get some health care, but so does everybody else today that has a job. And they get a paycheck. These men and women do not get a paycheck. The Grosse Ile Fire Department is one of a kind. They're at the top of their game in terms of saving structures when they catch on fire. All of your other departments, Grosse Points, paid on call department, they don't have this kind of a record. This department is a generational, familial type thing, and some of the people back from 1945, their descendants are still with us, and this department is like no other. And what we have here is something that should be supported, embraced, and 500 hours a year per person with all the other benefits. This is one, it's a third the cost. Two, we have what no one else has. And as you've said, people come from home, they do their part. Are we perfect in every way? No, nobody is. But we're far better than 99% of them, so I would urge everyone to vote for this renewal because it could be them on the other end needing a service that they potentially would not have. So that's my pitch for the renewal.
I want to expand. I'm sorry I'm going on, but I've learned so much about this fire department. First of all, people have to realize that our EMTs have to pass the same licensure requirements, the same testing as EMTs in career fire departments. Our firefighters have to pass the same license requirements, take the same tests, pass the same tests as firefighters in career departments. The state of Michigan does not deviate when it comes to career versus volunteer. You have to take the same educational requirements no matter where you're functioning. And like I said, we have some career firefighters on our fire department. Their skills transfer from our fire department to the fire department they're establishing a career and back and forth. So any misnomer out there that our firefighters or our EMTs are not performing as careers or people who would be living at the station, that's incorrect. And I beg your pardon, one last thing I want to make very clear that a lot of people don't realize is this. We have now 26 EMT firefighters. Their compensation is not all the same. A lot of people, oh, they get their health care. They get their health care. The answer is incorrect. Of the 26, 8 of them do not take the health care compensation. 8 of them. They take the buyout. The buyout is approximately, when you include their HSA contribution, is approximately a total of $9,000 a year. That's it. So of the 26, 8 of them don't take the health care. That brings you down to 18. Of the 18, 3 of them are single, males or females. Their health care is only $6,000 a year. That brings you down to approximately 17 or 16. Of the 16, about 7 of them are husband and wife policies, which is only $12,000. That brings you down to the remaining 7 or 8. They get the family plan health care. So when the public says, oh, but they get paid their health care, that is not true. 8 of them get a family plan health care policy. 8 of them get husband and wife. 9 of them or 8 of them don't even take the health care, and the other 3 or 4 are single plans. You talk about the best financial, let's say, use of funds. I know other that is better than the Grosville Fire Department, hands down. Have we ever had a lawsuit against us for malfeasance or misfeasance? And since 1943, never. 0. And we're handling 900 calls a year, standalone on an island. And we do stand alone on an island. So
And Chief,
I could go on forever. Come and see me if you have questions.
Well-
I've been trained and I've learned from the best of them, from Pete Payette to Duncan to Richardson's to the McMahons to the Lawlers, etc., etc. They've taught me the ins and outs of this fire department, and I learn every day from our own members, the chiefs, the captains, the lieutenants, the sergeants, the EMTs, the firefighters that are on our force. They teach me something every day.
Chief-
I could go on.
Chief, one last thing though, and I think we don't want to
Belabor it.
too much, but again, the other issue is we train, right?
Yes.
So every Wednesday, for the most part, throughout the month, you train, right? Real fast, tell us what type of training goes on a regular basis, because I think a lot of people believe that you have your fire staff, EMS, things like that. They come to their home, they go and then they go back home. They have requirements, right? Not only do they have licensure through the state, but you also have requirements.
Yeah.
Every Wednesday you have trainings, for the most part, right? Some Wednesdays you have off. What type of trainings, like, are you going to have a training next Wednesday? Did you have one yesterday? Are you going to have one 2 weeks down the road? They're trained consistently and constantly, correct?
That is absolutely correct. I gave the firefighters off July 3rd, which was the last Wednesday. It was the right move. They had, I think, 8 calls in 2 days. And I thought, well, I'll give them the July 3rd off. Well, we train on everything from, cardiac arrest, sugar emergencies, epinephrine, overdoses, and we do in-house training. We have our own training instructor, Chris Davenport, the assistant chief. He trains us. He works for Woodhaven Fire Department. He's the deputy chief there. So he comes with a lot of equity to our department. He's on our department. He's responding to calls, and he's our training officer. We do everything from pump training. We do, water rescue. We do even utility hazard training. We do airport training. We train on every skill you can think of that a fire department has to train on, and then some. I'm not too sure the fire departments off the island do any wet water rescue training or ice training. Our firefighters get in Mustang suits and get in the river in the middle of January, February, and March, and we train on rescuing patients out on the water, whether they're duck hunting or ice fishing. I don't think other departments do that. Again, no offense, they train on things we might not. We do. We train on live burns. We have a flashover training coming this November where the firefighters are going to be put into a trailer, and we are going to have a live burn within the trailer. They're going to learn fire patterns. They're going to learn the signs of flashover. They're going to learn all sorts of skill sets.
Well, and what's amazing about the training is that on top of what Kurt Corneffel said, that 500 hours, they know that they're leaving their families every Wednesday to train, right? I mean, and training could be an hour, it could be 3 hours, right? So it's remarkable how they do it consistently, and there's never a complaint that they're doing it, right?
No, and I'll tell you, I'm always telling the firefighters that they need to train more, and they come in outside of Wednesdays to train. They might have their own little study session, and 3 or 4 of them or 2 of them may come to the fire department and train on anything they feel that they're responsible for. We had a live burn out here training last year. As I said, we're going to have another one here in November 2nd, on the weekend. They're going to be spending, there's 2 hours of classroom, and then we're going to go have the live burn. So we have hired some experts that train in Oakland County to come and teach us about burn patterns, what to recognize in a burn pattern inside a structure, and how to avoid the fire from flashing over, and how to evacuate before the flashover. How to recognize the signs before a flashover. So the firefighters are training. They don't get paid overtime. They get a standard set rate. Either it's a health insurance buyout, a single person's plan, a family plan, or a husband and wife plan. They don't come to me and say, hey, we put in an extra 10 hours this month. Can I receive some extra compensation? They don't do that. So, as I said, the millage is basically an allowance. There's nothing more, there's nothing less, and we operate. It's one of a kind.
Kurt, if I could add one thing. When I came on board the commission, one of the very first things I did was to attend a training that was for mouth-to-mouth and CPR training. And at that time, we had 18 firefighters that comprised the totality of the department. They had 100% and more because you had 3 retirees that came in. All 18 of the department were there, plus 3 retirees came in to hone their skills, to refresh their knowledge, the education that they had. I don't know about anybody else, but when I see 120% participation or 115% participation in something, that's unbelievable. And to see that with retirees coming in, the dedication, the spirit, unparalleled. I just want to acknowledge that.
Yep.
And that was a 5-hour training. It started at 7. I think we left late in the evening. And you're right. We did everything from CPR to choking victims, infant CPR, adult CPR. So, you talk about choking. Choking is the #1 form of accidental death in children, I believe, under 4. And we train on choking. So we target what we know will directly, percentage-wise affect our citizens. we are expansive. We don't let anything get past us. And I commend all the other firefighters in the past because they deserve a lot of credit. What I'm talking about was set in place decades ago from, all the prior chiefs, all the prior officers, and all the wonderful prior EMT firefighters. Most of my mentors didn't even hold rank. They were just firefighters that had honed their skills over the decades.
Well, and all the former residents that supported these millages, right?
That's right.
So, all right. Moving
Okay.
on, membership.
Membership. Okay, we are up to 26 members. When I became chief and when the new officers took over the fire department, we had 15. Now we're up to 26, and I will kind of envelope this with number 4. The fire department has a job hiring event July 28th. It starts at noon. It would be an opportunity for anyone who's interested in becoming a Grosio firefighter EMT, Grosio Fire Department. Another thing out of that 1.1 million is the tuition to train new firefighters EMTs. So that 1.1 million goes across a lot of expenses. And so if you're interested in coming out, come on out July 28th to the fire department. I will be there. If you have any questions of the fire department, it'd be a great opportunity to see me, see some of the other firefighter EMTs, some of the other officers. But come on out. It's a hiring event for yourself. If you're interested in being an EMT firefighter at the department, we'll explain it all to you. And hopefully we can convince you to join the great fire department. It is at noon to 3. Noon to 3 at the fire department. Just come into the front door. You'll see the dispatch, and just tell them you're here to see the fire department, and I will be there.
July 28th.
July 28th. New training facility. It is my position and other members of the fire department that we have to uptick our training to more, let's say, realistic trainings. So if anyone noticed, there are 2 cell towers in the back of the fire department, police department. And they have structures, 4 structures back there, approximately 15 by 20. Well, only 3 of those structures are being utilized. There's been 1 structure vacated, no longer in use by AT&T, I believe, and that has reverted back to the township. So it's my plan, the officers' plans, to build. There is no roof on this building. It's just wide open, 3 sides of a brick building. We plan on building a pitched roof off this structure. We plan on using the pitched roof as a structure or training, let's say, building for the firefighters to emulate, let's say, a roof training to emulate ventilation, chainsaws, emulate taking charged hose lines on top of rooftops. We have to remember a gallon of water weighs 8 pounds. When you consider your fire truck is maybe 100 feet, 150 feet, who knows, away from that structure, and I ask you to go up on that roof and ventilate it, you have to go with a partner who is carrying a charged hand line. And when you have to pull a hand line that is charged, what I mean by charged, it is full of water, and you have to pull that charged hand line maybe 50 feet, then go up a ladder with it, it can be exhausting. I want the firefighters to start exercising on a normal basis this skill set. They have to carry chainsaws, they have to carry axes, they have to carry a lot of equipment with them. They got to remember, you got 50 pounds of gear on your back and you're carrying this stuff. I want the firefighters to regularly start exercising this skill set up ladders onto a rooftop and operating their chainsaws. And this is a two-man, two-person, two-woman job, whatever you like to call it, at a time. And I want the firefighters to have a training facility to prepare them for all experiences they may encounter. Now, the back wall, we may eventually start building a wall for them to, let's say, exercising some skill sets, penetrating a wall, etc. So the new training facility is going to be built behind the fire department. I think it's important. I want the firefighters to be prepared as best as they can. I don't know what other I don't know if other fire departments do this on a regular basis. I respect all the fire departments off the island. They do a great job, but this is my focus on building a new training facility behind the fire department. And I think we can do it for about $5,000, $6,000, $7,000. Okay?
Just keep us informed.
I'll keep you informed.
All right, number 5, purchase of extractor and dryer.
All right. The fire department, the number one cause of illness on fire departments used to be cardiac arrest. Death on scene, health problems used to be cardiac related. The new scientific information is it's not. It's toxin related, cancer related. As all of you know, and the public may not know this, fire departments were exposed to a forever chemical, PFAS. It was in our foam. All fire departments, or I would say all fire departments that I knew of, had foam. We had foam stored in the fire department. We had foam stored in our fire trucks. The foam was in our tanks. And through the science, it was determined that this chemical in the foam, PFAS, was cancer causing. Okay, I commend the trustees. They all reached out to me a couple years ago, and they were very clear that we had to get rid of the PFAS. That's what the science was telling us. Cancer-causing toxins are inherent in the fire service. And why is it inherent? Well, because it's in everything. The carpet, the furniture, the paint, the tile, our homes, the building structure, the resins are full of toxins. And it doesn't matter how old your house is. Houses that were built 100 years ago have been remodeled, recarpeted, new furniture. And when there's a fire, the firefighters are, let's say, surrounded by this burn-off. The burn-off is full of the toxins, all right? I've been exposed to it. All the firefighters have been exposed to it. So the science is generating the information. And the information is these toxins are cancer-causing. And if they're not cancer-causing, there are other health issues related to these toxins. The science has determined that the firefighters have to remove themselves from exposure. The exposure is not only at the scene. We come back with it on our gear. We come back with it on our hoses. We come back with it everywhere. It's on our equipment, our axes, everything is covered. So our gear is hanging in the fire department. We walk by our clockers every day. And we're breathing it in slowly but surely. The state of Michigan has even recognized the threat to the health of the firefighters. MCL 418.405, effective January 1, 2022, firefighters, doesn't matter it's volunteer or career, who have been in the service, I believe, more than, I'll tell you, more than, I think it's 60 months of service. So that's approximately 5 years of service. That covers half of your fire department. Firefighters who are diagnosed with, there's a long list of cancers, who have been in service for greater than 60 months, it is a presumption that the cancer is related to the fire service. It's a rebuttable presumption, but the science is so strong, it convinced the legislature to enact 418.405, that the cancer is related to the fire service. Now, in an effort to avoid the exposures and bring them down to as minimal as we can, I'm recommending that the fire department purchase 2 pieces of equipment that do the best job they can to get the exposure away from us. And again, the exposure is not necessarily at the scene. It's in our bays. So, you know, I've talked to the trustees and they just think it's hands down just wonderful for numerous reasons to purchase this equipment. And the equipment that I would like to purchase, I handed out a flyer. I got 3 quotes. There have been 3 options, offers of equipment to purchase. The item I would like to purchase would be from McQueen. It is a what we call an extractor. It's a heavy-duty industrial washer designed to satisfy the National Fire Protection standards in cleaning our gear. You can't throw our gear into a regular washer. The manufacturer care requirements are to keep our equipment out of your circulating washer. It breaks down the fire protectant in our gear. So there is a washer specifically designed for fire turnout gear. And I'm recommending that we purchase from McQueen. The item number is CAC SHD-20. It's a 4-piece turnout gear washer in the amount of $6,792.45. There will be a freight charge of approximately, since it's coming in from Wisconsin, I think of about $600 on top of that. So I'm urging the Fire Commission to make a recommendation to the board that the McQueen Circle Air washer be purchased in the amount of $6,792. This piece of equipment comes with a 3-year warranty. I'm expected that it will last the fire department over 20 years. So for $6,792, that's a very, very small amount of money that we have in our budget to pay for.
All right, so that is a proposed recommendation. Is there a motion to that effect from the commission?
So moved.
Moved by Jerry, supported by Corneffel. Are there any questions or comments? If not, all in favor of the motion say aye.
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 So obviously, we'll make this recommendation, get it to the clerk. It'll go to the next township board meeting.
It's on the agenda.
It's on the agenda, so you're good to go. Chief, anything else?
One last thing. The purchase of the dryer. The dryer is $9,147. We can't have our gear just spewing all over the fire department drying. It takes time to dry. If you had another fire, you'd have equipment. See, our turnout gear has 2 layers. We have to take it apart to wash it. Once you take it apart to dry it, and you have a call, it could take 36 hours for that equipment to dry, not in one piece. You don't want wet equipment, turnout gear in 2 pieces all over the fire department. It exposes the potential that we get a fire call and our gears spewing out all over the department in 2 different pieces. So I think it's probably prudent to buy a dryer that can dry our equipment in an hour, and we can put it back together and be ready for the next call in a time period that would allow us to respond to a second call shortly thereafter. That purchase price is $9,147. We have the money in our budget, and I'm asking the commission to make that recommendation to the board.
Is there a motion to that effect? Moved by Bringard. Is there support?
Support.
Support by Corneffel. Questions or comments? If not, all in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carried. Chief, anything else?
No, I've concluded my meeting. Thank you.
That's a good thing.
Yeah.
All right, we've taken care of our action items. Public comment. Is there anybody in the audience that would like to address the commission and ask the commission any related questions as relates to the operation of the fire department? Yes, ma'am. Just state your name and address for the record.
Yep, Michelle Bartlett, 8949 Voight Avenue. I just wanted to tell you that even before I came to the meeting, I was planning on voting yes to the millage, but I do urge other ones to vote as well. One of the things I don't know if you mentioned is we have an aging population, so I'm sure you're providing more services for that. You not only have to provide the services on the island, but in the water all the way around. And I know the one day I was asking questions that somebody was actually out on the water training that day. We've used the services twice, never for a fire, thank goodness, but the last time was, woke up in the middle of the night and I smelled something and it was really strong. I didn't know what it was. It turned out that we had a piece of equipment that the gas line, the fuel line broke away, and that gas was just going all through our house. And so, we didn't know what it was. We called the fire department. You guys were there immediately. And like as a woman, you don't want strangers in your house, right? But the funny thing was the one person said, "Oh, I laid carpet on your staircase when I was younger." And, it was all people from around the island, and I just felt very comfortable with them there. And then my kids were sleeping, and I said, okay, I can get them out of the house. And they're like, no, it didn't make it to the back bedroom. We'll put them in there. They were really good about the kids. And then once we learned what it was, I said, okay, we can open the windows, the doors, everything, and air it out. And they said they had some kind of like heavy duty fan that just fit the whole doorway, the front doorway, and they just sucked all those fumes right out for us, which they didn't have to do. It's the middle of the night. I'm sure they were tired. So anyways, for that and other reasons, I was planning on voting yes to the millage anyways. Again, I urge everybody to do it. I don't even want to think what would happen if it didn't pass. So that's it.
We
Thank you.
appreciate your comments. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
There's no one else in the audience tonight. Anything else from the commission? Bob, you have anything for us? All right. Bringard brings motion to adjourn the meeting. Is there support?
Support.
Support by Corneffel. Questions or comments? If not, all in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carried. Thanks and have a good evening.
Thank you.